pertaining to maritime today, pertaining to your careers today, pertaining to your professional qualification, competencies, and everything that you want. They're here, very experienced, very knowledgeable, and at the highest level of maritime industry. So let's give a big round of applause to our panelists, Leo. Yeah. And we are going to start with Mr. Subramaniam. Please introduce yourself and give them a word. Thank you.
Very good morning. Thank you for this opportunity. I've been here in Mombasa last 3 days. Excellent experience. For me, I would say, if you have seen my designation, it's just Chief Learning Officer. So many people ask me, what is that? So I would say instead of saying that, yes, I develop learning programs, I am a continuous learner. Right? That's the number one, I would say. I bring in 40 years of experience, starting with oil companies and then ship owners, shipping company. I currently work for a ship owner who's involved in multiple logistics, aircrafts, ships, food processing, academy, etc. And then, of course, with the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers, I am the international chairman, where I manage the 27 branches and the various committees. I'm glad to say that East Africa branch of the ICS is one of the very vibrant one, very dynamic one. We have been having events last 3 days here and other meetings with government and stakeholders. So glad to be here to help you with whatever guidance you need and queries you have. Thank you.
My name is Joyce Kaburu. I'm coming from, is it a town or a city called Malindi? That's where we do have our Maritime Academy as Mount Kenya University. My background has been in shipping and logistics, and I have over 20 years experience in shipping and logistics. I just moved into academia about 2 years ago. And I'm very happy to be here and excited to see your faces, and I hope that we will be able to have conversations that will encourage you and that will help you make decisions even as you get into the job market. We really look forward to having a good interaction with you. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is David Oruya. Chairman calls me Daktari. I've been, I work with the Access Shipping Agency, and I've also been in this industry for quite a while now. I think about somewhere over 25 years about. And I also do consultancy, maritime consultancy. I do ship agency, I do brokerage, I do chartering, and also do husbanding of vessels. Just to let you know that you still have time. I started my career, I didn't start as a logistics person. I trained as I did mechanical engineering when I was in college after school. And then after graduation, I was able to work for I think, less than for 1 year. Then I got myself into logistics and sales and marketing. Then that's where I developed my career to what I am today. And when I started in logistics, right there I started at a very low level. That's the time I had challenges somewhere. Then there are those times you have challenges and you don't know what to do. You're desperate and just want anything. So I joined a shipping company as an office steward. That's where I started from. And then I was able to grow. I grew to supervisory level. I became a manager. Marine Operations Manager. I was given our country to run. I was able to had the opportunity to open other branches outside Kenya. And as I was growing on my career, I was also able to grow academically. So I was able to build my skills, and I was also able to grow and build my academic qualification. And today I can sit here with I'm proud to be a doctor, a PhD, but I started from a level. Before I got my PhD in logistics, I started from down there. So anything is possible. A small beginning can be, don't despise small beginning. So I just want to encourage you, as you start, you can think, sometimes you find yourself in a situation and you don't understand. I've had a lot of students asking, what can I do with this course? Where will I go after this? What next? I also train, I also teach, and I have a lot of students who ask me that, what do I do? So you can start from a lower level, but you can still grow and become an employer. Today I employ, but I also was there and I was not sure. But you see, when you have a passion and you know what you want, then you're able to push it. Thank you.
My name is Josephine, and I work at Kenya Maritime Authority as the Deputy Director in the Directorate of Maritime Education, Training and Labour. My area of competence is maritime governance, maritime education and training, that is the human element, and maritime policy. And as David said, we have all come from where you are currently. Before I joined KMA, I was still in logistics. I was working in the tea industry, imports and exports. And when I joined the KMA, I was in the administration department, and quickly I moved to the maritime safety department. And as we discuss in this panel, you realize that life is about continuous learning. Having landed in maritime safety department, I realized that I needed to enhance my qualifications and, of course, experience I was having on a day-to-day. And therefore, I joined the World Maritime University. And but also when I was there, I was informed about the ICS, and that is when I studied privately. So you can also study privately in addition to what you're doing right now. And by the time I left WMU in Sweden, I already had taken 2 exams. The following year, I became a member after finishing the qualifying exams. And therefore, I've been a member since 2014. And maybe I can fast track. This year, I became a fellow, thanks to the local chapter. Yeah, and I would like to say also again, I looked for other qualifications from personally, not basically through my employer, in maritime policy and governance, and as well as I was also lucky to get a scholarship to the International Maritime Law Institute. So therefore, I also got qualifications in international maritime legislation. I'm still a student. I will not tell you where. I've also been to University of Nairobi, where I got my MBA in strategic management. So I'm doing all this to say that let's continue learning. Yeah, and we are here to encourage you and say that when you need a skill, go for it. Don't wait for your employer or for your parent to push. You can always push the limits. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be here, and also to share my experience, and also to learn from you, because everybody has something to share. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Joseph Ongiri, a maritime student by blood and life. I'm proud to be here in front of you because I started my maritime career at most of you guys' ages, just left school. My focus was on supplies, finance, but our old mentor, Mr. Soita, diverted me to maritime studies for a start. So I did my foundation diploma as my first course after school, and I excelled. When the results came, I was already done with liner trades. During those days, we had a few people who had that type of qualification. For those who listened to Mr. Soita yesterday, the target was to have at least 20 members in Kenya so that he can start talking to headquarters so that Kenya can be considered as a branch of ICS. So for the young ones like me, all we were given was names of MDs and CEOs and people abroad who had done shipping and not around, but to motivate us. So for sure, the initial years were very, very difficult. We did maritime studies by going to Kenya National Library, and you pick any journal as old as 1945, as long as it has a ship drawn on it, you go through it, because the tutorship materials were not easily affordable to anybody around here. And those who could afford them were in higher positions, so they were no longer interested of having such books within them. So for me, I did my foundation diploma and joined Bandari Maritime for my qualifying exams. The reason why I came to Bandari Maritime was very interesting. In this institution during then, the pilots and the senior management members of KPA used to volunteer themselves just to come and talk to students and talk about shipping and encourage us. So by being in Bandari, at least you could see a pilot. The next thing, you could get somebody senior from claims department. The next thing, you'll get the harbor master coming here to do a lecture. And fast tracking it, by the year 2002, I was confirmed as a member of the Institute of Charter Shipbrokers, having finished my qualifying exams. So first on that, work is there. So I got aggressive in my work career, very keen interest on what's happening, accepting that you are young but you have a future, agreeing to be mentored in the right direction, and of course, by the year 2014, I was confirmed as a fellow of the Institute of Charter Shipbrokers. And since then, I've learned to contribute back to the sector. I've learned to work with students in my environment, encourage them, because things have changed in the modern world. And people have accepted sea to be a real link in the logistic chain. So students with papers from ICS are able to work in banks, they're able to work in insurance sector, they're able to work in shipping sector, they're able to work in forwarding sector, they're able to work, some of them, in air freight sectors, because you understand everything about documentation, way bills, movements. So it's been quite an opening. The tanker market is opening up in this area. Fuel is becoming a real asset for most companies, and they are looking forward to students who can know what a crude vessel is, what a VLCC is, what an LPG is. When you know the language, you have an edge when you go for an interview. So as an ICS student, I encourage you and let you know that you might go to an interview with a master student in economics, but the moment you drop your papers on the desk and talk the language, you'll be given the first preference, as what yesterday told to us by the World Bank representative. So having the professional added paper in your curriculum or in your CV and being able to speak the language really drives you forward in your growth. Also, as yesterday told, by having this professional endorsement, you are able to apply for scholarships and all these other opportunities that come through government to government agreements or direct student efforts to try and get overseas and do some alternative courses. So ICS is an important course, and one thing I'll tell you, during our days when you used to get your membership certificate, you would say Mr. Joseph Ongiri, who is based in Mombasa, is now confirmed, can practice. So it was like an endorsement, and that's why those who really did it in the earlier days, like doctor there tells you, he got into, he can charter, he can scout for a vessel, he can contract for half of a vessel. So that is the type of understanding that this course brings to you. You become an entrepreneur, and also you become a person who can manage. So mine is to just encourage you, let you know that you're in the right environment, you have a bright future. East Africa is growing and growing very, very fast, and professionals are needed. So work hard, be motivated, the future awaits you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and very inspiring. I don't think if I've got anything left to say after all the great panelists have said what they had to say, but definitely I've got something to say. My name's Elijah Mbaru. I'm the CEO of Kenya Ships Agents Association. I also tag in as the chair of the cluster Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers East Africa. And glad that you are here. I wish I was taken back to your age. I would reinvent the wheel. I would read as much as I can every day. My journey is very simple, at the same time very complicated. Shipping was nowhere in my radar. I'm born and bred in the Great Rift, somewhere close to Baringo. And so I even came to Mombasa by a chance. My sister was transferred from Gilgil, then Posta was very vibrant, to Mombasa, and I was coming to visit. Then maybe I was like your age, I'd just finished my Form 4. But my first career of choice was journalism. I had actually enrolled, I don't know if many of you know Universal College at Fungamano Street in Nairobi. I had actually enrolled for that courses and had done 4 months. Then when I came and I saw Mombasa and I saw a lot of white people, and I asked, which is this course that somebody can do so that we can do? And I was told tour guiding. And I called my father and I told him, I want to enroll into this course. And he said, that is the last money I'll pay for you. I'll not waste my money anymore. And so I told my sister I will enroll, and I did, actually. And when I was listening, Bonanganga talking yesterday, James, I was asking, is he talking about me? Because I speak French, I speak German, and when I was employed by an Italian company, I also picked it up. So I started studying tour guiding and languages, and I did that for a long time. Then I got a job, like David and Josephine have said here, in a travel agent at a very low level, the lowest you can think. It was owned by an Italian captain who happened to be the consulate of Italy in Mombasa. And he spotted me in 3 months. He moved me from, because he had a ship's agency. It is just the time that MSC had come to Mombasa. He was the owner's rep, and then he had started his own agency. And he told the GM, put this young man on the boarding side of operations of shipping, for those of us who know. So I started going to the ship, being sent to the ship, to take this to the vessel, take this to the master. And when I could go to the ship, I saw there's one person that everybody else is boring to. And I started thinking, which is this career that I can do to be in this completely? I was told the seafaring. By then, Captain Odach, KMA was not there. It was merchant shipping superintendent. Captain Odach was just exiting, and Captain Mahut was coming in as the superintendent. And they managed to give me a seaman's book. But somebody else told me that seafaring is not good. Please go into the commercial, the other arm of shipping. And so that's how I told my boss that I want to study. And of course, I enrolled in these courses of shipping. 2 careers left. This is the 3rd one. I enrolled in this, and the rest is history. I rose through the ranks. I love shipping. I love the ship, and I always tell people that if you want to think about anything, think about the ship. It's our common denominator. And this I remind Josephine, our boss, the MD of the port, that if you don't attend to the vessel, everything else cripples. Just recently, the AMO Secretary General, on the CNN interview, he said when shipping is disrupted, everything goes into standstill. I would have rephrased that, than when a ship can't move. We don't eat, we don't dress, we don't learn. So my clarion call to you, and I have seen a lot of enthusiasm to the young people. You can be anything that you want to be. You can be anything that you want to be. It's resilience, hard work, and moving ahead. Can you imagine somebody like me? I was not born in a place where there's a coastline. I had never seen a ship. Today, I'm given a lot of responsibility. They have accorded me the honor of being the chairman of the branch. It's a huge responsibility because I look over Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and the Horn of Africa, Djibouti, South Sudan, and Eritrea. And I'm also now the Chief Executive Officer of the Kenya Ships Agents Association, meaning that anything that goes wrong at KMA and us, I'm responsible. KMA and us, KP and us, I'm responsible. KRA. So you can be whatever you want to be. And my father was not a minister or a big MD. My father was a mechanic, but he had a vision to educate the kids. When I look at you, all of you, I can see that you come from able families. And I think the very important thing that even our chairman mentioned here is that for those who need help, we've got a funding module at the headquarter level, and we have been leading in that. He can attest to that, that anybody that I recommended, they have never been objected because we have not been biased. We were looking at an individual and the family background, and if you are needy, we would recommend you for that funding. So we are looking forward to see you one day sitting in a panel like this, or being like Mr. Mudadir. For those of you who don't know him, whatever you see on the CSS pages, Joho, that is a man. So you can also be like him. He is the one who drives the minister's agenda and the portfolio in the social media. Since he's my good friend, he came to volunteer. Actually, I cannot be able to pay him, a person of that caliber. So he came to assist us, and we are thankful. So you can be whatever you want to be. And please, let us listen to our parents, our elders, consult. Even the greatest leaders in this world, everybody who was talking, Mandela said that. Does anybody know the quote that Mandela said about education? That it is the greatest weapon that a human being can possess. And Martin Luther King the Great said that character and intelligence are the basis of why you should get into education. Because character matters even more than the classroom work. So I wish you well, and I thank you for coming and for listening to us and for being patient. Thank you very much indeed.
A big round of applause for our panel. You have heard it here today from them. And maybe just to put it more clearly, the clothes that we wear came on a ship. The apples that we enjoy came on a ship. Yeah? Even the timber that we see or we import comes from a ship. Basically, these chairs, some of them came from China, and they came from in a ship. And as well, if you want to go somewhere meaningful, you always need a ship. And if also you want to start your life with someone, you get into a ship who wants to take you to the future. Sindio? There's somebody that you can depend on and count on any time, call even at night when you're in trouble, when you're crying. Is who? Is a friend. So you need friend. So ship is life. Ship is everything. Yeah? Now, most importantly, for the ladies, for our young women out here, I know sometimes it becomes very difficult to convince our parents. And this is one thing that maybe the panel, we need to do more as ICS. When you go to your parents and tell them you want to do something with maritime, yeah, they always picture you in an overall, safety boot, hard hat. And they always tell this is not a woman's job, right? But the evidence is right in front of you. You can be beautiful, luxurious, wear everything that you want, just like our ladies in front, and they're still in the maritime sector. So there are many facets to this. It's just how you want to exploit. Yes, STCW mtafalishwa hizo vitu, sindio? But that's the basic thing. But where you want to take your career in maritime, you can still be luxurious, beautiful, elegant, baby girl, baby doll and everything, right? So utaona pale, angalia, pantsuit hiyo moto kama pasi, si ndio? So look at her, madam. Huh? Cindy? So don't be afraid. Yeah? And maybe what we need to do more is also student outreach, but also parents outreach to encourage their children more around these causes. Right? Thank you very much. As we move there, I just want to ask one question to open up the questions. Yeah? Session. I'll just open up with one question, and this goes to Mr. Elijah and Chairman Subramaniam. Professional bodies like ICS are often seen as clubs for already established, right? But you and I know they are gatekeepers of global standards. How can bodies like ICS bridge the gap between academic graduation and credible, internationally recognized maritime careers? And specifically, because I know the students in this room need more than theory. What mentorship, networking, and professional development opportunities can ICS provide directly to students, not as an afterthought, but as the deliberate pipeline?
Thank you. I think maybe just to take your role a little bit, I've seen Captain Twali. He's joined us, and maybe he should be on the panelist as well. Thank you so much, moderator. I think the question that you asked is very pertinent, and ICS, as it has been demonstrated by us, I'll just allow them to settle, then we can proceed.
You can take the answer, then he'll introduce himself. Allow him to settle down.
Thank you. So thank you, moderator. I had just started, and I was saying that actually ICS, we don't operate in silos. And how have we clowned the global standard into the local scene, so that you can feel also embraced, and all of us. The reason why the branches were established with our HQ domiciled in the UK was for that very reason, that the branches knows the local environment better than the head office. And so the branch is able to advise the head office the local requirements and what contents the local people can be able to be trained. And apart from that, as ICS, and particularly through our office of Kenya Ships Agents Association, we have ensured that you don't only go to class theory. We also place students in internship. We work very closely with major shipping lines that call Mombasa and shipping agents, express shipping, access shipping, that's where David works, companies like Hapag-Lloyd. We have a program that they take at least 3 people on a yearly basis on the commercial shipping side of it. And of course, we are working together with KMA to see how we will also be able to bring others on board so that we can start the cadetship program, or what they call the bath or placement on board. We have done that with Mask. Joyce, you might be aware, we took 2024, towards the end, we took 10 of them. CMA CGM sponsors students, and this is something that you should know, especially those of you who are here today. They sponsor students to study and place them on board as well. How many of you are conversant with CMA CGM, the shipping line? Kututa-san, you know CMA CGM? Oh, but at least you know that the shipping line exists. So I think this is something that you should know. You should be able to know which are the shipping lines that call Mombasa, their names and where they come from. Because if you look at majority of the shipping lines, they are associated to a particular nation. Like for example, Maersk is associated with Denmark. MSC is associated with Italy. CMSC GM is associated with French. Evergreen is Taiwanese. Costco is Chinese. PIL is Singaporean, Chinese. ECL is United Arab Emirates under the auspice of Blue Funnel. And of course, there are agents now like Express Shipping and Logistic that they don't handle liners. At times they handle tramp vessels that comes once in a while. So it's very important that you know these things so that when you're told something, you can be able to relate with what you're being told. So we are doing that. Where I used to work before, I used to work for the Pacific International Line, PIL, and Josephine can attest to that. I don't think there's any other shipping line that took cadets and proper cadets, deck officers, and marine engineers, that now some of them are leading Kenya Maritime Authority. We've got 4 pilots at the port who came with us. So you can see the amount of impact that it can make. So just to answer the moderator question, we don't only do theory. We also try to help you. If you're a seafarer, berth on board. If you're a show person, internship in the shipping companies, and not only in the shipping companies, even in the empty container depots, in the cargo freight station, in the logistics firms, in the freight forwarders, and so forth. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you very much. We'll give an opportunity to Captain Twalib to introduce yourself.
Good morning. My name is Talib Ibrahim Mohammed. I'm the captain in command of the Institute of Maritime and Seafaring Studies at the Technical University of Mombasa. So by office terminology, I'm the director of the institute, but in line with Merchant Navy training traditions, I'm the captain in command of the training. I've been trained from the seagoing side and then switched over to shore-based career, but still within the line of maritime education. The institute. I've been trained in Egypt. My cadetship and my officer license. I'm licensed by the Arab Republic of Egypt, and for my masters also Egypt and Sweden, the World Maritime University, and currently I'm also doing a PhD in Egypt in safety of navigation. Our point of concurrence with ICS, especially for us deck officers, is that the versatility of our training in maritime transport also places us right in the middle of supply chain, unlike engineers who are a bit constricted to ships and the technical parts. But for us, the deck department is a bit versatile. That is why you will see some of the degrees for deck officers are actually called Bachelor of Maritime Transportation or Bachelor of Science in Maritime Transport, because we deal with the end-to-end of the transport, hence our versatility when it comes to maritime transport and logistics, and that's why we always fit inside. On the side of maritime education and training, the training does not only, traditionally maritime education and training was only, we used to refer to the seagoing based training, but now it has expanded to the shore-based. That is both the core services to maritime transport, that is ships, and also the ancillary and support services to maritime transport. For example, freight clearing and forwarding, not really considered in the earlier days as maritime education and training, but now it is an integral part of maritime education and training. Financial knowledge is also being ingrained into maritime education and training, especially in the areas of shipping, maritime transport logistics, and also maritime management, which includes port and terminal management. So this creation of the versatility that should be there actually serves to drive the interest of maritime education and training further, in that now we are able to look at the training holistically. So I think the other matters I will be able to explain it later. This is just an introduction. For the Institute of Maritime and Seafaring Studies, and that name was very particular, Maritime and Seafaring Studies, because we are addressing maritime holistically, and also we are looking at the sea-going training. Therefore, for us at the Technical University of Mombasa, we have the training starting from the certificate level, level 5, by virtue of being a technical university. Level 6, which is the old terminology was diploma. Then we have the undergraduate. For the undergraduate, we have Bachelor of Science in Nautical Science, Bachelor of Technology in Marine Engineering, and also we have Bachelor of Science in Maritime Management. So we have addressed the three spheres that are there when it comes to maritime transport. That is the seagoing with Nautical Science and Marine Engineering, both departments, and also the shore-based, which is, we are covering it under the Bachelor of Science in Maritime Management. We also need people to teach these people, the undergraduates, and also the diplomas and the rest. The Commission of University Education requires that for you to teach a bachelor's degree, you need to have a master's degree at a minimum. Where in this country do we have a master's degree in maritime? None. Even if someone tells you, I have done supply chain does not, master's in supply chain, it does not really address maritime issues. This is a person who knows supply chain abstract, but when it comes to maritime supply chain, the person will make very fundamental errors. And we have seen it, and Elijah, my senior, can note that some things have been misinterpreted because of failure to understand Incoterms, where you find a client losing cargo. I have done marine surveys, and sometimes I have to intervene in claims because the person who is doing the claim is not maritime per se. So therefore you find a very fundamental error where a client loses cargo or a ship is forced to pay where it is not supposed to pay. So with that, the Technical University of Mombasa has developed the master's degree in maritime and port management. It is under review from the Commission of University Education. And also we need people at policy level to understand the holistic arena and environment of policy level when it comes to the sustainable use of the oceans. So we have already submitted for review masters in maritime and maritime policy and ocean governance, and we cannot leave out the two core of the maritime industry, that is nautical science and marine engineering. Therefore we do have coming very soon master's degree in nautical science and marine operations, and also master's degree in marine engineering. And further to that, we also don't need, once these people finish, they get stuck in between. So we have already also submitted PhD, Doctor of Philosophy in Maritime Studies with 8 research priority areas. The first research priority area is safety of navigation and marine traffic engineering. The name marine traffic engineering is a bit confusing for very many people, but it is simply based on nautical science. So it is now the engineering of the movement of vessels. It is simply vessel traffic management. And then we also have a research area in maritime engineering, technology, and innovation. The other research priority area is in maritime science and ocean governance. The other priority area is also in port operations and management. And of all these people, there is a very critical component that is always left out. It's always forgotten. How many of you here have watched a movie where the airplane was landed on the Hudson River? You've watched it?
Yes.
When they were being subjected and the pilots were just about to be blamed, what did the lead actor say? There's a very important part. Then they had to introduce a delay in the decision making. The human element. The human element is the one that drives all this. And therefore, in our research priority area of the PhD in maritime studies is the human element and factor, which is now being researched under the priority area of maritime education, training, and labor research priority area. All the others, they also do have the human factor, but now it is the human factor as a tool, but in this research priority area, it is the human factor as a resource. So anyone who has done HR can come and actually do a research in maritime labor and be admitted to PhD in maritime studies under that exact research priority area. Where anyone who has done operations research, strategic management can come and join the PhD at that level. That is how it is structured. We are no longer going to allow money constraints to limit Kenyans in terms of maritime education and training. It is very expensive to train outside the country at the postgraduate level. So, as the director, I could not have allowed that to continue happening. Thank you very much. We shall continue.
So before we go to our next panelist, we would like to open for a question. Anybody from your side with a question? Ikiwa basi mnafikiria, mimi nina swali hapa. I have a question kwa Madam Joyce Kabur. Mount Kenya University as an institution that has made a bold bet in maritime education. MKU Malindi Maritime Academy has invested 30 million shillings in the current economy. 30 million shillings in advanced bridge simulator that has signed a strategic partnership with Abu Dhabi Maritime Academy. Right? Now, the question here comes. What role should conventional universities play in pioneering research, innovation, entrepreneurship, and policy formulation for maritime, for the blue economy? We have maritime academies for seamanship, we have ports for logistics, but where is the R&D, the research and development hub? Where is the maritime startup incubator? Where is the policy think tank? What is the university's unique contribution in what is holding Kenya's university back from becoming global centers of maritime innovation?
That's a whole mouthful, but I will try. I will try my very best. Indeed, we have invested very heavily in maritime education in Kenya as a private investor. And as my colleague mentioned, maritime training is not the easiest thing to undertake because it's very expensive. And even bringing it locally, bringing it home, does not make it less, maybe it's a little less expensive, but it doesn't make it easier to train. So as investors, what we require is an environment that is friendly to the investors. We require that the regulator makes it friendly for the investors to be able to schedule and carry out this training. And that is what we have done. We have been collaborating with the regulator to be able to see what we can be able to introduce as courses, right from the elementary level all the way to the bachelor's level. We are the last one in the maritime sector, so I like what Captain Talib has said in terms of introducing masters and PhDs, and we will get there sometime. But for us, I think the way we look at it is we do not want to just offer training for the sake of training. We do want to collaborate with industry. That is one of the things that we hold dearly. As you said, we require trainers. And where will the trainers come from, other than from the industry players? So we have the people seated on the panel. I would consider them as a great think tank. You know, people have been in the industry for what, 20 years, 30 years? And those are the people we are targeting to train. And we have targeted to train the students that we are enrolling into our maritime academy. In terms of collaboration, we have seen and we have learned from what people have done outside the country. So we look at it from the point of view of collaboration instead of all of us doing the same thing. You know, we are all in research, we are all in training. What is the niche that we have? You know, you already, as Pwani University, maybe they are training in marine sciences, you know, ocean science. What role can we play in collaborating with them to train as opposed to competing with them? Those are discussions that we have on the table so that we do not duplicate effort, we do not duplicate investment. I mean, the cost of investing in maritime education is quite huge. So if we are able to collaborate and have partnerships both locally and internationally, I am sure we'll be able to train our young people for the international market. And when we talk of research, we don't want people to go into research for the sake of it. We are also challenging the young people to look at what problems does the industry have and what solutions do we require. So at the point at which you're doing your, project or dissertation, look at what the industry needs, what does it require, what solution can we offer, and then we can look at commercializing that instead of looking for solutions outside. You know, Kenyan problems can get Kenyan solutions. So that is the challenge that I would pose to the students seated here and the trainers seated here as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much. The next question is Dr. David Obuya. How can students build professional networks, secure mentors, and position themselves for internships, attachment, and employment opportunities? When everyone says network, but let's be honest, a student from rural county, first in their family to attend maritime college, does not have a godfather in shipping. They do not attend the Nairobi Club. They don't do golf with ship agents. What is the practical pathway for students? And what is the most effective way for students to move from classroom learning to industry exposure, internship, cadetship? Because the transition is where we are losing our best talent. Daktari, wanakutizama, they're all looking at you for that answer.
That's a good one. I want to bring us back to two questions. First, you asked, this also reminds me what Chairman was saying, Elijah, where he came from and from who he's coming from. His father was not a member of those big clubs. You see, he was able to make it where he was. And also, you had asked chairman and chairman about how ICS can leverage or the importance of ICS students. And I think I want to link these two together because the biggest issue here is the transformation from classroom to the industry. And that's a big challenge. Everybody has been asking this question. Where do we go to from here? Even those who are still in school, Captain will also tell you that people are asking for seat time, not only employment. And that's been a big challenge. But one of the practical things students can do to transform, number one, just to come back to the issue of ICS. You know, the forums like to collaborate, like what ICS is doing, for instance, the workshops, the network. You see, it's one thing to have academic qualifications, and it's another thing to build your network and to build your skills. So school, class will give you those academic qualifications, but how do you fit into the industry? Now that's where you need you need to come into to network with the industry. You see forums like this, where ICS has been organizing for forums and workshops. If you participate in those workshops, you are able to interact with the industry. You're able to connect with the people with the industry, and you're able to know, you're able to see them, you're able to realize them, and you're able to also to interrogate them and ask questions, and they can give you guidance on how to get into the industry. And that's how also you get how you can get a mentor, because you will not necessarily get a mentor from class. And sometimes we have, like me for example, I use my example. I have people who have mentored me, people I've worked with, and there are those people I also have looked upon who have been my inspiration, but I have not interacted with them personally. So you just identify a person, and you want to be what he is. I remember when I also had the privilege of working with the chairman of ESF, Mr. Kututa. I remember when I worked with Kututa, the first thing I saw, when you go to his office, there was that sign. He had a sign. And he had his name and all those credentials. Then there was FICS. And all the awards, the Corey Brothers Award, all those, there was a plaque, a very nice plaque. And I used to admire that plaque. And I remember we did an appraisal with him, and he was asking me, what do you want to be in the next 5 years? And it was my decision. I actually decided I want to be something. And you see, when you decide, you follow that goal. When I was promoted to fellowship, I think I was the youngest fellow in Eastern Central Africa that time. And I was the first non-director fellow. Because that time, locally, people believed fellows were only company owners, directors. But when I was working with Twitter, when I joined logistics, I had a passion and I wanted to grow this career. So I started studying. So as I told you, when I joined, I came from a totally different background. So I studied English, and that's how I started growing my career. When I was studying, I was having a goal, and you say, how do I reach this goal? So you identify points of points which you can follow, like a checkpoint, a checklist, your achievements. So these are my achievements, my goals and my achievements. So I said, this is what I want to be. And I said, I want to be a fellow, by the way. And I remember even when I applied for a fellow, that time, locally, the branch, the entire EC, there was no fellow, because that time, except Mr. Kututa. And that time I was not even sitting with the EC, and they would say, how would I become a fellow? But my becoming fellow actually pushed the other members also to start pursuing the fellowship. Because what I did, I studied. I had the handbook. Actually, I downloaded the ICS handbook, and I was able to study it. I wanted to know, what is this ICS thing? Because again, ICS was sitting in our office that time. We didn't have a secretariat office. So anything to do with ICS, people come to our office for ICS and they'll be sent to me. We had a secretariat, a reception secretary was doing ICS, but everything ICS. You have any question to go to David. And that motivated me, so I started studying. Because I had to have answers. I needed to be able to guide people. So that's how I started studying, even outside my scope. Many times, yesterday, the international chair was asking how many conflicts we have currently. And I've had many times also in class, because I also train, and I'll ask current affairs students. A lot of students, they're not even aware of the current affairs. They don't even know what is happening in the world. Today you want to transition from class to the industry, yet you don't understand or you don't even know the industry you are transitioning to. So that's number one. You have to know your industry. Like the chairman was talking about what shipping commands. Actually, what I believe is without shipping, the world will die. Half of the world will freeze to death and the other world will stop. So we know the impact. So for you to be able to transition from class to the industry, number one, you have to understand that industry. You have to have passion for the industry. You have to know the industry. Study the industry. You know what is needed. You know the solution. The problem, then you look for solution. A lot of students today are training in maritime for employment. And that's another approach that I think in Kenya we've been trained to think on that perspective. We believe on employment. And if you think about starting your own thing, somebody was asking about incubation. If you think of starting your own thing, we think big scale. We want to start. We are doing projects here in BMA and students are writing business projects. And people want to start big things. But if you think, what solution can you offer to the industry? Then you see how you can transition from classroom to the industry. So network, if you come to networks like this and you're able to exchange contact, you're able to identify a mentor and work with them consistently. You see, the problem is we study for exam. So you come, you work with the mentor for a while, or just for the purpose of passing your exam. Then they'll guide you, you pass the exam. If you pass your exam, you're done. But then there's also professional qualification and academic qualification. That's how ICS is different from the traditional institution. Because ICS is about professional qualification. You're trained to qualify for profession. And ICS itself has we have a database of the people in the industry. So even if you finish your studies, they can identify a person, a mentor for you, and they can place you on an internship. So it is, number one, it is a will for the student himself to identify, to acknowledge what they want, and they push that, to pursue that. And also I have to say, because I've seen also BMAs here, another thing also which can help also is the institution themselves. Sometimes the institution are also just training for the purpose of training and for commercial. But the institution also have to identify that, to say there's need to transit student from class to the industry. And I think the institutes can also come up with a system or create a system where they're able to collaborate with the industry. I've seen other maritime academy in the world, they have a system where they will admit students depending on the number of the number they've been given for absorption in the industry. And in fact, those classes are even sponsored. You have companies sponsoring classes, and they say we are sponsoring 5 students because there's already there's a collaboration. So the institute should be able to collaborate with the industry. The industry are open. We need people. Like I've seen many times, I have students coming to me, we absorb them, but they'll come and their mindset is totally different. Some you give the opportunity for internship or say attachment, because it's one of the requirement is for you to go for attachment. But you see a lot of students will come for attachment for example purposes. They just want to do attachment so that they're able to fill the logbooks and go back to school and get their attachment. So when you come for attachment, what you look attachment is actually an interview. Personally, what I look when you're on attachment, I look at how you articulate issues, how you're able to manage, how you resonate, how you think, how you solve problems, how you carry yourself. I have seen a lot of students come for attachment and they're just there. They don't want to think, they don't want to go beyond the required, the scope that has been given by students. So for you to transit from class to the industry, those are some of the advantages you should use. When you go for attachment, what do you do? How do you be able to do it? And a lot of people we observe is from those who come for attachment and internship. So those are some of the key areas that can help you to move from class to the industry. But network is very important.
Asante sana, Doctor. And one more very important thing. You might not be going to the country clubs. You might not be going to all these high places where people play golf and all that. But you can come to these events. This is where you meet them. This is where you network. This is where you speak to them. And if you leave here without even getting a single card from them, you've done a disservice to yourself. Yesterday, our esteemed chairman, Mr. Subramaniam, offered free mentorship. See, having access to him, you can just imagine that, just like that. We know people in the industry who have to wait and book their time or a meeting just to meet him, and that too for just some few minutes. People take their time and maybe they don't even have in their schedule time to meet them. But today they are right here in front of you. So when you're talking about a network opportunity, you should be able to see. Sometimes you want something so big that is far away. Well, the greatest thing is just in front of your eyes. Yeah? So I asked that question on your behalf. And most importantly also, you should know, other skills are equally important. Apart from your academics, how do you communicate? How do you carry yourself? How do you walk? How do you dress to meet the person? Because the first thing that they consume is what they see. If you're wearing a uniform of a rowdy person, not well kept and all that, they'll not have time for you. But if you go there respectfully, well dressed. Amesema hapa, internship is interview. I have gotten a job in Nairobi because of an internship. And by the end of the 2 weeks, nikimaliza naambiwa, go to the MD's office, they want to see you. And 1, 2, 3 led to the other. I got a job that paid twice what I was being paid in my previous job. No. So it's how you carry yourself. Everything about you communicates. Everything about you. How you comb your hair, how you shave, what shirt you wear, your color coordination, your shoes are brushed or not. Kila kitu about you communicates. So and that depends whether someone will have time for you or not. So.
And also if you have opportunity to volunteer.
Yes.
Take this opportunity.
Kabisa.
Some people say if you are not being paid, you don't see the value. There are sometimes the opportunities come. Like ICS want you to do something for them. You can volunteer to work. So those volunteer opportunities can also be very good network and reference.
And you're very right. I know of a lady, her name is Aisha Al-Hussein. Aisha started at Red Cross as a volunteer. She's now the county coordinator. That's where she started. 6 months, no pay, nothing, just volunteering work. Sasa ni county coordinator wa Red Cross. Yendo Sonko county nzima, imagine. And that's how it starts. But you see, all beautiful things start. Everybody here who is seated in front of you, no one said, my daddy woke me up every morning to go to school. Nobody said, my mommy packed my lunch, akaniambia, I have to go to school today. Why are you not waking up? You see, everyone here had self-drive. It comes from within. And that is where it should start. Your best competition is yourself. A simple example of an egg that you eat every day. My gonga ningapi ni 20 bob. Yeah? When it breaks from outside, when force comes from outside, what happens? Life ends. You eat the omelette, but when it breaks from inside, what happens? Life begins. Why? A chick comes out. And that becomes a rooster and then. So everything goods come. Iko hapa ndani. You don't have to look it from somewhere else. It's you who have to push yourself. On to our next question, our chairman, Mr. Subramaniam. How can shipping and maritime institutions better align training with actual technical skills that are required by ports, shipping companies, logistic firms, and maritime service providers? Because as you can see, some parts of the world are moving so fast, and the rate of technology obsolescence and adoption is equally fast. So how can our institutions or ICS bridge that gap? Over to you, sir.
Thank you. I think there's a lot of learning for me today, but I would like to see some interaction. You know, this gets really boring. You know,
Sure.
only a one-way
I
talk.
agree with you, sir.
You know, in supply chain, there is a term known as a push supply chain
Yes.
and a pull supply chain. Have you heard of those terms? Anybody? So in a push supply chain, inventory accumulates. Like this water bottle, it is manufactured in bulk, it is pushed into a warehouse, into a grocery store, and it stays for somebody to come and pick it up, right? In a pull supply chain, you place an order for a pizza. It is not made and kept there waiting for the order. It is made based on the order. So then there is no pizza which is in the inventory. It just flows to the end consumer. Correct? Do you understand? Yes? Good. So similarly, knowledge also. Today, all of you have got a smartphone with you, which I say makes us dumb because it pushes information to us constantly. 99% of that, we don't need those information, right? But when you pull information, oh, I need to know this. Where will I get my next job? Why do you need a job, first of all? All of you here are looking for a job, right? Ultimately, or a career. Why do you need that? Let's go to basics. Survive, you need money, right? You need money. My first job back in India started with $5 a month in an insurance company, right? But I stayed hungry and left that job in 3 months, and people are telling, you got a job and you left that? I said, I think I can do something better. Because I failed in an interview, but that taught me that I can do something better. And I went on to another job, before I got, after 2 years, I got a job in logistics in an oil company, and that is how I started in logistics. Right? So, if you are not going to ask a question, so let me again ask. All of us here, and Captain was really inspired to hear your story and what you are doing. We all sit in recruitment. We all recruit for the company which we work for, or even for the industry. As ICS also, they sometimes call us to be in the recruitment board. What do you think? So you need a job. Do you know what companies are looking for when you go for an interview? What do companies look for? How do they recruit? Yes, please. How will you get your job?
What do companies do?
Experience.
Experience. Okay, good. What else?
Qualification.
Qualification.
Good.
Okay.
Reliability and consistency.
Reliability and consistency. You have to prove that. Okay, good. Now we are talking. Yeah.
We have personal etiquette.
Personal and etiquette. Wow, very good. What's your name, young man?
Combo body.
Combo body.
Bye. Very good. Etiquette. Good. Who else?
Behind hapa lazima tusikie mtu kidogo.
Level of education.
Level of education. Okay. Yes, we have a hand up here. 2 hands. Very good. That's encouraging now. Really encouraging.
Problem solver.
Problem solver. Wow. Very good.
Other than the job that has been advertised, what more can you offer? Like if it is in engineering, what other skill do you have? Yeah,
Well,
additional
what
skills.
can you offer to the table, right, for that job? Good.
Okay. Solving the company's problems, as my colleague has said.
How do you solve the problem? Because when you are being recruited for a job and you are being paid a salary, I work for a company, I am being paid a salary, it's not that they love Krishnan Subramaniam, it is because day by day, minute by minute, I am adding value back to the company, much more than that salary, right? Correct? So, you're 100% right. First thing is that what value do you bring to the table? Experience, it's your first job. It's like a chicken and egg story. What comes first? So you will say, give me a job, then I'll get experience. The employer will say, show me experience, I'll give you a job. So that's where volunteering, internship, all these things matters, right? But one of the biggest thing I look for when I am recruiting, yes, knowledge is important, qualification is important, because as employers, we want you to start performing that job, correct? But much more than that, one of the most important, that's why I made you talk and give the mic to you, is communication. If you go and sit in an interview without talking anything, will you get the job? You're not going to get the job, right? So, grab these opportunities to talk, to communicate. All of us are afraid of death as human beings. Is there anybody who's not afraid of death here? Okay, all of us are. You know what is the second biggest fear a human being has got? The second biggest fear for a human being after the fear of death. Fear of failure, yes, but
Speaking in front of people.
It is public speaking. Do you think that I was very confident when I walked into the room here? I still get butterflies in my stomach when I face a new crowd. And it comes by practice. There is no other way. As he talked about the human factor which is there, there are certain things, the jobs which AI will not take away, start focusing on that. The human factor which is there. And the only way to become confident in speaking, whether it's an interview, whether it is on the stage tomorrow when you are asked to speak something or then present something, is practice, practice, practice. So when you get an opportunity, here it is not a life and death situation, pick up the mic and talk, even if it's just a question or just telling your name. So focus on communication. I have picked up candidates, not the ones who answers questions, but who ask questions. That's why I ask for names. Every moment is a potential job interview for you. How many of you may end up working for one of the companies where we are involved in? As ICS or Shipping Agents Association or universities, they are involved in much more companies here locally. It is an opportunity. The moment you speak up, even if it is a question, you get noticed. So shed that fear away. Just fire up. Right? So, coming back, what do you want to know? In terms of job, yes, you need a job because we need money. We need a good life. We want to improve our lives. 100% correct. Right? Why logistics and shipping? Why logistics and shipping? There are so many other IT, industries, etc., etc. Why do you think logistics and shipping will give you a better job, a better life? Because you have to be convinced about it first, right? That this is where I want to be. Have you ever thought? I mean, he gave an example while we started off in terms of shipping, right? Whatever we see around here today, transportation has become a basic necessity, whether it is people, whether it is goods, whether it is information. It has to be moved. It has to be moved. You came here with some transportation, or even if it is walking, that is transportation. You have to be moved. We have to be moved. Goods have to be moved. So, this industry will never die down. It will never die down. Right? So, I came to it by chance 40 years back, and I have stuck on. We talked about mentorship. Do you think that I need a mentor now at this phase of life? Do I need a mentor? What do you think? Yes, I have 2 mentors. And mentors are sometimes long term. You know, it's not like a coach. A trainer is different, a coach is different, a teacher is different. A mentor is somebody who goes with you long term. I have got 2 mentors. Because there is something to improve always. I have doubts. I need help. ChatGPT will not give me all the answers. And not even if it is answers, not even the right answer many times. So all of us need that. So ask for a mentor, seek a mentor. Right? It will help you to go a long way. Great, I'll stop here, because there's always a risk of giving the mic to a teacher, so I'll stop here for the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And remember, what our chairman said is, don't be afraid to ask the question. Mainly because if you don't ask, the answer is always no. 100% no. If you ask, you have increased your chance by 50%. You can either get a no or a yes. Cindy? So, our next question, for the next question, I'd like to welcome Mr. Edison Murengi, our senior trainer at Bandari Maritime Academy. The question is, what qualifications, certification, and practical competencies are most important for young people seeking careers in Kenya's maritime sector?
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Moderator, and thank you so much, ICS, for convening the panel. We really appreciate. Thank you so much, students, for making your time coming to this symposium. It's very important that we have you here so that we deliberate issues to do with the maritime and how we can bridge the gap between training and the industry. As you've heard, my name is Edison Mrengi. I serve as a trainer at Bandari Maritime Academy. And I stand here as a bridge between the industry and the academic part of it. I happen to be in the industry. Before now, I switched into the classes. So I know what the industry needs, and I train the students with the real competencies that are required to the industry. So what is there is for you to acquire the necessary skills, you need to go through the academic world, through the academic process. That is, you need to identify a course of your choice in the maritime industry, and then you pursue it. We have different courses that are offered in the maritime industry. We have courses in maritime transport logistics, courses in nautical science, courses in marine engineering, and any other course that is related to the maritime industry. So these courses are offered at different levels. We have level 5, which is a certificate, and level 6, which is a diploma. But what is most important is as much as you're going to have your certificate or a diploma or a certificate, that certificate level, what is important, the industry requires is the competencies that you acquire in class. And therefore, when we talk about competencies, we talk about 3 aspects. That is the attitude of the student. We're talking about the skill, and we're talking about the knowledge. So the knowledge you can acquire in class, and the attitude you'll also be trained in class. But part of it, you're going to acquire it from the field. The skill set part of it, that's why you have the industry players here. They're supposed to blend you with some practical skills like internships, like what Bwana Dr. Oruya said, attachment, simulation, and such like things, so that now you acquire the required competencies for you to be accommodated in the industry. So apart from the academic qualifications that you're going to have, a diploma or a certificate, you need to also have the some qualification, professional qualifications, which are offered by different qualification awarding institutions like the ICS. ICS have various levels of qualifications, so you can decide to join them, so that at the end of the day, that qualifications give you a competitive edge in the industry. Everybody is going to have a diploma in maritime transport. Everybody is going to have a marine engineering or a degree, whatever level you're going to study. But what gives you a competitive edge is the professional aspect part of it. You stand to be counted. You are above all. So professional competence is very, very significant when it comes to employability. But again, what we do in class as a trainer is we are, apart from training you to be in the industry, to be absorbed in the industry, to be employed, we also train you on entrepreneurial skills, so that there are so many opportunities that are available in maritime, so that you can come up with idea and decide to be a self-employed person. So we are giving you also these skills so that we don't heavily depend on employment. As much as the employment is there, yes, we appreciate what the industry players are doing, but again, we cannot rely 100% on employment, because at a youth population, Kenya is about 20 million. Can we absorb all that into the industry? No, that's not possible. So we should also embrace the entrepreneurial skills that parade in the classroom, so that now we can be innovative enough and be self-employed. Other than that, when we talk about the competencies that the industry requires, there has to be a blend of communication skills and the right attitude. The industry requires a team player, for instance. The industry requires somebody who is able to undertake operations or duties without supervision. That's what the industry requires. They have no time to go and train. So that's why we are moving from the knowledge-based aspect to the CBET aspect, where we equip you with the necessary competencies, so that when you go to the industry, you don't have to be retrained to do anything else. That's why we need the industry players around here, so that when we ask them to give us opportunities for internships, opportunities for attachment, they'll be able to accommodate us. Okay? The syllabus that we are teaching is from the industry. It's them who develop the industry, the syllabus, and say, you trainers or your institution, train us these guys. We need these people to come to the industry. That's why what we do is we accommodate the views of the industry. What we are imparting to you is not our knowledge as trainers. No, it is what the industry requires. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. A big round of applause, Apo. Remember, your qualifications will get you the employment letter, but as he rightly said, your attitude will keep you in the job. So, any questions, guys? Good. I'm liking this.
Good morning. I'm Rogers Mwatela, BMS student, marine engineering. So I have quite of some questions to Captain. Okay, so my first question is this. You said that you can acquire a PhD in marine engineering, but not in Kenya, yeah? In the country. Yet, I got a diploma or a degree in Kenya, and I got my internship, okay? Yet, there's a person has got his PhD or has got his PhD. When I get my internship, we'll all as work as a cadet first, yes? will all work as a cadet. Why should I acquire all these? Yet when I get my internship, I will work as a cadet. Yet, we got some, like, let's say first, the other question is in the CMA, the evergreen, the ships that you have said. Okay, as we Kenyans, okay, I go to my qualifications, then I get my internship in, let's say, evergreen. Okay, first I'll work as a cadet. Okay, let's say like 4 months first, then I break, then I follow the next 4 months. Okay, let's say that I've worked for almost 8 months as a cadet. Then I come back home, then I get my qualifications that I can continue as a third engineer. I go to KMA, whatever, something needed. And when I go to CMA or Evergreen, they refuse me to work as a third engineer. Why? That is the point. Yet, I can acquire my studies in South Africa. Okay, the CMA can acquire, okay, like when you get, you study in, let's say, in South Africa or Ethiopia, the CMA can give you opportunity to work as a third engineer in their cruise, in their ship. Why? Okay, like I as a student in BMA, I got my diploma or my degree. Can't I work as an engineer in the CMA or whatever? Thank you.
Another question. Let's take 2-3 questions and after to Nene.
Okay. I'm Jesper Mofuga from Mombasa Aviation. My question is, I've been an ICS student since last year, and there's a challenge looking at the information I'm being given about the course. You know, I'm a person who my school fees is being paid by a parent, and my parent always tell me to follow up, but sometimes I don't get direct information about the payments. Sometimes I go, like last year, I went to pay for the examination, but my parent didn't understand why I was to pay the money in pounds, you know. And the thing is, I just wanted the ICS leaders to find a way, the easiest way to explain for students before they join the course.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm sorry, afternoon. I think my question goes to Mr. Elijah. How are you today? Okay, how do you ensure that you're working closely with individual colleges to ensure that the education instead is not only theoretical part of it, but also practical? Because I know you say that ICS works with the shipping lines and everything, but is it ICS only, or do you work with also the individual colleges? Because I believe there's some students here who are doing ICS and they've not had the practical aspect of it yet. So are you working closely with individual colleges, or do we have to follow ICS so that we get the practical aspect of it?
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Eunice. I come from the Zonal Institute under Mr. Ocheng. I'm currently taking my advanced diploma in shipping business and liner trades. First of all, I'm happy for this 2026 conference because, let me say, I have a short story about myself, and I'm proud to meet the chairman ICS. I'm really thankful. Let me say, I did Let me say, shipping is not easy. The course is not so cheap to access. We are here. Some of us come from very humble backgrounds. We really admire to go in the career, but the challenge of financial is an issue. On my side, I did my foundation diploma 10 years back. That is 2015. And from that time, I was unable to continue with my education. But I thank God, this year, 2026, I got scholarship from the ICS UK. And I was very happy yesterday to meet the chairman from UK, because I used to communicate through an email to people, even I never knew their look. But yesterday I was able to meet him, and he told me he's one of the office that the ETF, the Education Trust Fund. I'm very happy, very thankful, because I really had a dream in the shipping industry, but somehow my dream was almost dying. But I'm happy now. I'm able to continue, and I promise to at least achieve. Let me go to my question. And my question may go to Mr. David and also the Mr. Chairman, ICS, because our theme in 2026 was resources for resilience. I may say this, you find that all of us here, we are students, and we have a dream in the shipping industry. We all want to get a career in the shipping industry. But you may find some challenges of getting a chance in an office, a problem of accessing the shipping lines. Now, from our theme, I may say this, our biggest challenge to resilience is not lack of will. We really have that will, but it's lack of resources. We need three things, Mr. ICS. Financing to own ships, shipyards to repair them here, and trained East Africans to manage them. As we know, in Kenya, we serve a very big, let me say, we are heart. Let me say Kenya is a heart that is pumping the shipping industry in East Africa. Then in this way, if we get these three things, we won't just be agents in our own trade. We will be owners. Mr. David is a ship's agent, is it? Mr. David, on your side, for how long are you willing to be an agent? Do you really desire to become a ship owner? Because we know once we get ships in East Africa, we'll be having more jobs. Everyone here will be able to access a job in offices and even in the ships. Because in the ships, there are many jobs in the ships and even in the offices. So, if we get these three things, we won't be agents in our own trade, we will be owners. Mr. ICS, you have a key role to play in this. ICS a key role to play in making this happen. In short, East Africa shipping to be resilient, we cannot remain only agents and charterers. We must become owners, operators, and decision makers in shipping. ICS is the professional home for this transformation. Let this conference move us from talking about resilience to actually financing it, training for it, and legislating it. Because a resilient East Africa will have its own ships, flying its own flags, and carrying its own trade. On the side of financing, what concrete financing models can ICS lobby government for So East Africa shipowners can actually buy vessels instead of chartering. Thank you.
Asante sana. Let's take answer those first, then we can pick more questions from there.
Thank you. And I think our chair has injected what he wanted for the students to ask questions. I love it. Maybe I will go. There's a gentleman at the back who asked about pricing at the ICS, and there's no clarity in terms of what they're supposed to pay. And I apologize on behalf of the branch if that is the case. I would kindly request you to get in touch with Vincent. Vincent, please be upstanding so that they can see you. And in support of Vincent, there is Rehema, Hannah, and there's another gentleman, I don't know whether he's in the room, Victor. Please, you can get in touch with Vincent. If you're not very comfortable with Vincent, get in touch with Hannah, who is your age. At least you can relate. Or there's another gentleman called, Victor is at the back, sorry. He's here with us. So you'll be able, if you can't, please get in touch with me or with Dr. Ruya or with Mr. Ungiri. We have got other ECs, Madam Tumaini and Madam Grace Rua. And we'll be able to help you. Specifically, I don't know which course you're doing. If you can just let us know. Okay, thanks. That we can be able to sort you before we leave the room. But in the future, please, if you have got any issues, get in touch with Vincent. If you're not getting any help, Hannah is there, Victor is there, we are here as ESCOM. And the other question was to the good lady. I like her enthusiasm. She asked if, as ICS, as we move ahead, as we work, do we work in silos or we incorporate other companies? And yes, we incorporate other companies. Just to let you know, we are formalizing a working collaborative approach with KMA. We have got an MOU with the Northern Corridor. We have got an MOU with PAMAESA. You know PAMAESA, Port Management of East South Africa. We also got an MOU with Bandari Maritime Academy, who now we have become twins. They are other arm of ICS. We have an MOU with Kentred. And we are discussing with the Ports Authority on how they can be taking our students on internship. We have a working collaborative way with all the shipping companies. And please, for those of you who want internship, they can get in touch with me or they can get in touch with Secretariat or any of the executive committee members. So we have got all those structures in place. But we need to, when I was sitting here, I was thinking, we need to have some sort of a better way of communicating. Vincent, I think we should start a students' WhatsApp group. Then we can bring all these issues there. And maybe you can also be sending you emails. So your issues are catered. Personally, you can reach me anytime. But I'm not 24/7 like Governor mentioned yesterday. 8 to 5. If there's an issue, please let me know. And I will task Vincent to create the WhatsApp group for students, please, Vincent, so that we can also be engaging them, just like the way we have a WhatsApp group for members. Please create one, and we can be updating them on what is happening. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Well, first of all, congratulations to all who are asking questions. Well done. Keep it up. I'll answer your question. Add to what Elijah also mentioned just now. And I think if you were in the room yesterday, I mentioned there are university students who are not only passing the ICS exams, but also becoming toppers. Now, that sounds like sometimes a contradiction, right? Where we advocate that, yes, you should have practical knowledge to write the ICS exam. Because the question papers, first of all, please go through past exam papers. And the examiner's comments, which you see against the question paper, is one of the most valuable resource you have. Yes, the tutors also look at that, right? And if you watch the previous question paper 5 years back to the current question paper and the examiner's comment, there is a marked change in terms of the comments given by the examiners. This also has come out of feedback, and we have incorporated this just 2 years back, where it's almost like a model answer which is being given to that now. Have you noticed it? Have you noticed that? So please don't just depend upon the syllabus, don't just depend upon the textbook, not only the classes, they are valuable. Look at the exam papers, look at the examiner's comments which are there, right? And again, when I am telling university students are passing exam in flying colors, it is because they focus on how to pass the exam. Knowledge is important. ICS exam gives you that broad knowledge. That's why I did the exam. It broadened my knowledge. But when it comes to the exam, you have to focus on the exam technique, right? What is expected in that question? What is the examiner looking at? And those clues are given in the examiner's comments, right? So that was your, in terms of practical, how to get the practical. Along with that, yes, whatever is being done with companies, if you even able to get 1 month internship where you get practical hands-on, whether it is a documentation or a port agency or a freight forwarding, that adds to your application of that knowledge, because ICS exam is about applied knowledge which is being given there, right? And the gentleman who asked that question, I think, did you also ask about how to get guidance to do the exam, or was that your question only about the process, which Mr. Elijah has answered already? Yeah, 2 exams, valid for 1 year, but for 2 exams. Oh, okay. Right. So this is, again, there has been a feedback from many branches, for your information also, to split that, the registration fee, because this is a challenge which many people are facing, including the early bird is given only once. So that is something, even a structured representation from you, depending upon number of students, it is definitely taken up. Third one, I would really commend your views which you have expressed, and you are spot on in terms of the challenges. These are challenges. Again, I am working a lot in the Indian maritime industry, so I can tell you, even after so many years, India is still grappling with this particular problem. Only in recent times there has been changes which has come in terms of ship financing, which is there. There is still debate going on, because we have to get all the ministries together for that, in terms of Ministry of Surface Transport, Ministry of Shipping, Education, Finance, Customs, all of them are involved. But there has been progress, and I think you would be able to add more. But I would commend you, a big round of applause to you again, in terms of having these thoughts, and this is what is required in terms of bringing back to the table. So I'm sure that wherever you're going to be employed, there it's going to be a big asset for them. Yeah. All the best.
Okay, let me respond, because I was directly mentioned this question. But I believe part of this will be answered by Josephine, because also touches directly now. But one thing I want to maybe put clear is, see, the perception that we have is that maritime is about ships. But maritime and logistics is not only ships. Actually, to be precise, we don't even need ships. I think there's a topic in introduction, it's called derived demand. So even the ship itself, nobody needs a ship. We've said here that 90% over 90% of international trade is done by ships. But nobody wants ships. Please look at me. The only reason I need a ship is because I need a vehicle. and because you're not able to compare your advantage, because the vehicle are only manufactured in Japan, then I need it to be shipped to me. So my need is that vehicle, not the ship. So the ship only comes in. So my need for the ship is derived from the need from that car. And so if we want to look at it that all of us have to have ships and have to be ship operator, I think that's not the right approach, because that's why ICS is a diverse discipline. One of the requirements to be a member of the institute is you have to pass at least 7 exams, correct? Personally, I've done 11 exams. And a lot of people will do 7 and they get the membership and they get that down. But the reason is, what do you want? So why did I do more exams? Because there's something that I was looking at. There's a qualification that I wanted. There's some insight that I needed. That's why I was able to do extra papers. Okay? I'll do, if you do legal, for example, and you want to work in a CFS, you want to do a different course that is related to that. You want to do something else, you want to do a different, that's why, you see, some of us will do 7 and then you're okay. And some of us, even that 7, they feel like I've done some extra papers which I didn't need. So it's not about just having ships. And again, the ships needs to be moved. They need to be, like Captain was saying, now even the captains, even the seafarers, and in fact to be a captain, there's a training, you have to do training and documentation, you interact with the shore, because you need to do manifest and all that. See. So everybody has to do something at their end. So for a ship to come, for a product to come to Kenya, that product is produced in a factory. It has to move on a first leg of transport to the port. Maybe it's warehoused, move to the port, and then it is loaded. Then the ship has to move. Then the ship has to be offloaded. The cargo has to be managed, and then have to be moved to the next person. So you cannot do all those things as one person, as a ship owner. You know, before, actually shipping is one of the oldest industries in the world. And before, the masters, the captains of the ship was the trader. The trader, he has the ship, he go and buy and put the cargo on the ship, and then, but because of dynamics and you know, the way things are going, then you need to diversify. People have to specialize. That's why the chairman was talking about pull and push. That's why even today, you have people who will not produce. Before people will produce and put in the warehouse and wait for you to call for order. Today, there's just in time. You produce when it's needed, or you ship it when it's needed. And that also saves space in other things. See? So it is important. We cannot all be ship owners. And you cannot all run ships. Even the ships itself, there are different types of ships for different trade. So you need somebody to husband that vessel. You need somebody to navigate it. And you need somebody to handle it at the port. So you need the port authority as an interface, because when that ship comes, how do you link that sea transport to the land transport? So you need an interface management. That's why you need a port management and port and terminal management to be able to manage that interface from sea to land. And the same if you are interfacing to another mode of transport. So those modes of transport has to be managed, and the interface has to be seamless. Otherwise, if you have an interface which is not seamless, then you'll have a lot of discrepancies and delays on the car. That's why the chambers, the national chambers, have come up with the Incoterms. So these Incoterms also helps to have a seamless flow, also of documentation and the contracts. So that's why you need somebody who can interpret the Incoterms, someone who can write the contracts, because this training is not only for people who go on sea. We also train people who are in the banking industry, because some of these cargo are actually paid on LC. So you need someone to understand that from the banking sector. We need people from the insurance sector. So you cannot be an insurer and again you're also a ship owner. So that's why the training is so diverse. So me as a ship agent, that is my strength. In fact, my passion has been ship agency. Well, that's what I've been doing. And ship agency, you cannot be a ship agent, and because all these ships have to move all the ports, okay, and they cannot be present in every port. That's why they need somebody to be there in every port to be able to manage that ship and to husband the vessel as it comes. So for that reason, we cannot do all of us to be ship owner. Maybe Madam Josephine will be able to explain further, because now she sits as a regulator and about vessel financing and vessel management to be able to.
Thank you. Just before the regulator comes in, I would like ICS students to know for sure that you can go to a college, register for ICS, but the local office is accountable to you. If you are studying at any institution and there is some information which is not clear to you from the management or from your lecturers, the way they're explaining it, that is why ICS has got a neutral office in Mombasa. You come to BMA, go to ICS office, talk to the secretariat. Just tell them, I paid this amount to this institution for my exam fee. Have you received it? You have the right to know that you paid for examination and your money has been dispersed to London. Any payment that is done through an institution within East Africa, the information will be communicated to Vincent. So in your case, you're doing units and the information you're getting is not very clear, go to Vincent, he'll be able to verify for you your data. In case you are stuck in any way, Vincent coordinates between ICS office and all institutions which have registered students for ICS exams. So that database is within our secretariat. So feel free anytime, as long as you are a student in an institution, you paid your affiliation or registration fee, anytime feel free to contact ICS East Africa office. Usually they get the data. If you decide to pay your exam fee directly to UK account, because normally they give you that account in GPP, after 2 days, just go and check with Vincent. I've paid my money to UK. Confirm I'm listed for this coming exam. He will be able to get you the information. So feel free. These are local interface office that is there to serve you. 2, the executive committee is making efforts so that our administration team visit the colleges and find out how you are doing. So in case for any reason you've been in an institution for 1 or 2 years and you don't understand anything, feel free to ask your coordinator, is it possible you are invite ICS ExCom member or any executive to come and talk to us about this and this and this? That is within your right, and that information or that service will be done to you. 3, for those who have problems with, like let me say you are doing nautical engineering or you are doing commercial shipping, but your institution has never even taken you to a port or a freight station or any other place like that, feel free to inform your coordinator to get in touch with the ICS chairman so that he can facilitate your movement to the port. So that is something that the chairman is always able to intervene and assist the institutions to have done. Students to visit a location, students to go for on-ground checks. That is something that the chair is there to facilitate and make sure it's available to you. Otherwise, I think that gentleman raised a very important question on engineering, and that's why I said let me intercede before the specialist KMA comes in to guide on that, and maybe captain. Thank you.
Thank you very much and good afternoon. I would like first to applaud all the students who have asked questions because now we can see, excellent. Now we can see the future of the blue economy and the maritime has people who are going to be steering it. I've listened to the questions asked by a distinguished student before us. They are very pertinent questions. Actually, those are not student level questions. Those are policy level questions. So give her a hand of applause. Yes. And one thing I liked from her intervention is that she recognizes Kenya as a heartbeat of shipping in East Africa. That is great for the country, that even the young people have confidence in their own country. So this gives us a lot of joy to know that we have future maritime captains of the industry already innovating, already thinking, and therefore now a challenge to all of us who are sitting here. We need to create an innovation hub for these ladies and gentlemen, because they're actually thinking beyond even what a lot of us are thinking. So thank you very, very much. To come back to the shipping financing, I think David has done justice to that question. He has actually explained in detail how the shipping industry works. There are various aspects which act in a symbiotic relationships. There are ship owners, there are ship operators, there are ship managers, there are ship agents, there are ship husbands, as he likes to call himself. I've been listening to him still this morning. And each of these have a special competency, strength on which they do. And probably just to digress a bit, as you think our careers in the future, don't think of which qualifications you need to get. Think, which solution do I bring to the industry? That will make it very easy when you're thinking about which qualifications to get to align yourself to what you love and what is your strength in the industry. So let's think, what do I want to play? What role do I want to play in the industry? Which solution do I want to bring as myself to the industry, even looking at my career in 10 years? For example, if I may ask by a raise of hand, who believes in this session that you'll be making decisions for the maritime industry in Kenya in the next 10 years? If you believe. If you believe. Excellent. So we have people who believe that they will be the decision makers in this industry. And to answer one of the questions, I will just say I used to attend, I said I was a private student, ICS student, and therefore I read privately. And therefore I met most of the students during the exam season. And I met one gentleman, I think in 2014. And that's the time I think BMA was starting actively engaging and training. And this young man was also studying privately like myself. But he came from Kisauni. He was paying his own school fees like many of us are doing. Sometimes our parents are not able to pay, but he was struggling to pay his school fees for the ICS exam. And therefore he was studying privately. He couldn't go to a training institution. So this young man, we did most of the training together, and we were studying and revising for the exams together. And when BMA started advertising for nautical science, he was like, I was still working, so he took me as a mentor sort of to ask how the industry is working. Do you think I should consider this? And I said, why not? But why will I get the school fees? I said, we'll find a way somehow. Long story short, the young man joined BMA after his ICS qualifications, and I want you to link with what Captain said, that shipping and nautical science are very close. ICS and nautical science have a linkage. So this young man took his 3 years at BMA after his ICS studies. Thereafter, when you are told to volunteer, the worst you can be told is no. There was an IMO was applying for a cadetship program. He applied, and he was lucky to be one of the chosen, him and a student from JQAT. So they went for the initial cadetship program, which was sponsored, and came back. And from that minute, that young man has never looked back. He's not struggling anymore. He's actually almost become a master mariner. He's a chief officer, doing his own things, succeeding in life. So you need to look at life positively. Never fail to take an opportunity. When an opportunity comes up, take it. When you feel that you have the strength and you have the motivation and this is what I want to do, do it. Even if it's not what you did 3 years before, because we are not privileged to be able to map up our careers early in life. Most of us try and error until by the time you realize this is where I was supposed to be, maybe you wasted 2-3 years but this young man is succeeding. Therefore, I would like to encourage all of us to take every opportunity. For my young lady before me, I think you have a very great career in policy, administration, including, as of course, in addition to the ICS qualification, because I'm seeing you thinking about the big picture of the country. Yeah. So please take that heed. Focus. Don't give up. Don't worry about that. We are saying this is not for this level. Just do it. You start small. You never know. By the time you graduate with your ICS qualifications, if you have not done your diploma, then you can do it. TUM is bringing in the degree level. Go there and take your degree level. And you may be surprised, being a young person who speaks, who communicates, you just might find sponsors coming to your way. Some of us did not have money to study our master's level outside this country. But we found an opportunity and took it. That is how we got to study. We wouldn't have afforded it at all. So I can tell you that without fear of contradiction. So take that career path. Do not worry about what the situation is right now, but just follow your dream. On ship financing, again, and maybe this is a very important forum to speak about it. Kenya wants to have many ships, but there is quite a complex conversation, which includes ship finances, taxation regimes, other agencies come in. Most agencies are involved to make this decision. So it's something that the Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy is looking into very, very keenly on how we can increase the ship ownership in Kenya. The Cabinet Secretary is very, very passionate about this. And when we are watching our social media platform, if you've been keen this week, the Cabinet Secretary spoke about this. Yeah? So please, when you're looking at the social media, also look at what is happening in the maritime industry. You'll get vast in some of this information that we need to get the correct information. You will get them in the social media platforms of the government agencies that are concerned with your area. So this subject was spoken into by the Cabinet Secretary. He has already established some frameworks on how to develop and widen the registry of the Kenyan ships, and this will be, you can engage also. I believe when it comes to public participation, you will be able to participate and also give your input. The banking sector is very, very important in the ship financing, and this, when you look at mortgaging, if you looked at the Merchant Shipping Act, for those who have looked at, you'll see there is a section on ship mortgaging and ship registration. Please, I encourage you as students, those who are interested in registry of ships, look at these areas so that you can also familiarize on what we need to do. So these are the things that government is looking into, and we believe that in the next few, I don't want to promise when, that this is going to be rolled out. You will receive official communication from the right offices, how we can increase the tonnage. And then I would like also to speak to the young man at the back on the CMS CGM. It is a conversation I would like to engage with you, maybe on a bilateral, but maybe a confirmation for everybody's knowledge is that Kenya has been in the IMO whitelist since 2010. Various audits have been conducted by the IMO in Kenya to confirm that the STCW certificates issued by Kenya are valid. And I'm insisting on Kenya, underline Kenya. The STCW certificates issued by the Kenya Maritime Authority are Kenyan certificates, not KMA certificates or TUM certificates or BMA certificates. The IMO gives that obligation to the country. So the country has been audited in 2012. In 2016, it was confirmed again by the IMO, and also in 2023, it is reconfirmed. So if you have a challenge when you're trying to get an employment on board a vessel and there's an issue with verification, we are available to assist you with that verification and also communicate to the relevant maritime administration on which challenges you could be having. I can confirm currently many Kenyan seafarers who have applied on international vessels, all of them have been able to obtain employment. But to encourage every seafarer, if you have a challenge with any employment issues or certification issues, please feel free to communicate to us. We have a general email for that purpose, seafarers@kma.go.ke. Also, you can come to our offices. Now we have many officers who actually, most of them are coming from BMA and TUM. Young officers, engineers who have come into KMA this year. So we have enough people to speak to you, to mentor you, and also to answer your questions. Thank you.
Asante sana. We'll take 2 more questions, then close up for the day.
Hello. Hello. My name is Tai Kututa. I currently am an employee for Express Shipping and Logistics, and I'm undertaking the foundation diploma in Introduction to Shipping and Port Agency. And I just have one short question. When it comes to the PQE qualifications, for me, I had finished my A-levels in business and economics, and then I had immediately entered the industry, and I'm now doing my ICS to get my qualifications. Would the PQE qualification allow me to then move on to do my master's, or would I have to go back into, if I had skipped university and entered the industry immediately? Because I started with an internship within the company, then I became a full employee. Would I be able to move then into master's, or would I have to go back to do a university sort of?
Right, great question. What's your name again? Tad. Good question. This has been, in fact, we were discussing this yesterday in terms of equivalency. Because if you know the origins of the ICS has been from the UK, and this was initially the equivalency was being granted there, in terms of the equivalent to a UG degree. For other countries, at the individual level, this has to be taken up. And one of the challenges which we have faced, because I'm now, since I'm at the global level, I'm looking at different branches, how they are doing it. And where most of them, or rather all of them, are facing a difficulty is that for a university equivalency, you need to show specific number of hours in terms of the teaching number of hours. And the current model of the ICS exam, as you rightly said, most of them, they learn it by themselves. There is no hard and fast in terms of that you have to study with a tutorship of this many hours, and then only you can take. So this is, again, a policy level 1. It should be discussed at the education ministry level and see if there is a different way of doing that, and then only this would be implemented. Yeah, hope it answers your question. So currently we do not have that, but there are certain masters, I just remember there are certain masters in the UK where with a PQE you can go for a master's. I can, if you can send an email to the branch, and then we can get those information out. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Your question, I'll also come to it a bit later after I finish with the cadet. First, I need to rearrange his thoughts on the issue of cadetship, qualification, employment, and the postgraduate level. So the first thing is, there's a critical information probably you're lacking, is in the country, a conscious decision was made to peg officer of the watch qualification. What in STCW convention, it is termed as the approved pre-C training at a minimum of the diploma level, and therefore it either complies to regulation 2.1 for nautical or regulation 3.1 for marine engineering. So both the degree and the diploma are complying to the same. So therefore, anyone who has done a diploma in nautical science, not only a diploma, the keyword here is approved diploma by the Kenya Maritime Authority. Now the person, after also complying with the statutory requirement for an approved qualifying. Now the C time has 2 components. It is an approved and qualifying C time. You can have an approved, but it is not qualifying. Why? Because for a deck license, you sailed on a vessel that is less than 500 gross tonnage. So you must sail on a vessel that is above 500 gross tonnage, 501 and above, and also for the time that is, the other qualification is that you must have done your 6 months bridge watchkeeping. That is for nautical science is a bit complex more than engineering. Engineering, you are just needed to be found in the engine room and doing all the things that are pertaining to that engine room, and the evidence is one thing. A training record book that has been duly signed by the appropriate person on board. You cannot go on board as a cadet, but you are doing housekeeping. That one is not unapproved. First, it is unapproved qualifying, the unapproved sea service, and therefore it is not a qualifying sea service. All right? Now, every company in this world, a company is not a charity organization. So when you are applying to a particular company, a ship management company or the ship owners, you need to understand what are the combinations that you need to have when it comes to your license. Do they only look at your license, or do they also look at your level of the approved pre-sea training? So if they require that their third engineer, that is a person who will stand in an engine room for 4 hours and take decisions that can either make or break the operations of that ship. If they say they require this person to have a degree, then that is the requirement. Okay? So different shipping companies will give you another different combination. One will just require you to have you licensed properly. The other one will say, no, we need you to have your minimum of diploma to be given an officer level rank. Another one will say that you need to have a degree. So depending on the company, they will tell you differently what they require. But in Kenya, it was a conscious decision that was done so that it is pegged at the diploma level. Number 2, a cadet does not work on board. A cadet is on training. So that one of the working part, and that is why many cadets in Kenya have a problem, because when they are being told that they are going on board as a cadet with a gratuity of $500, they say that the salary is too low. No. You are not earning a salary. You are on board training, but you are being given pocket money. Yes, you are being given pocket money so that you can also, when the ship reaches a port, at least you can go out and yes, yes, as a man, you can even throw a drink to a lady somewhere. That is not a salary. You are not working on board. All right. And I've had a case where a cadet was being taken on board and said that the 500 is too low. The cadet wants $700. No, my friend, you're not working on board. You are just going on training, but they are making you to be a bit human. Ukuwe na kakitu kwa mfuko. Sawa sawa. That is, we need to clear that. The other thing is, you're asking about the postgraduate. In my earlier introduction, it was a very definitive approach that, and I explained it clearly, that currently, and also this has evolved in many other universities, maritime universities and maritime academies outside Kenya and Africa, is for any higher level training, you need to have a higher qualification. For any level of training, you need to have a higher qualification. So you might have your class 1 marine engineering or deck, and you have served as a chief engineer for 10-15 years. You have served as the master of that vessel, because a captain and master are two different things. A master is a qualified captain. A qualified captain may not necessarily be the master of that ship. Okay, captain is a qualification. So the other one is rank and appointment and command. So when you're coming back to teach, especially in a maritime university, you will be required to have at a minimum master's degree. If you're coming back to teach diploma level students, level 6, you'll be required to have a minimum of level 7, which is an undergraduate degree, or an honors professional degree at level 8, okay, or a level 9 postgraduate diploma. So in order to comply both with the regulatory requirement, and the STCW does not negate the fact that maritime training in a particular country shall also comply to the educational framework of that country. It does not prevent that. It actually encourages. So it means that if we are going to train officers, third engineers at the degree level, then we must have complied with the regulatory requirement as per KMA, and also comply with the general degree educational requirement as per the Commission of University Education. Now, what was the issue in this country? I did a dissertation in 2019, is that there is a mismatch in the recognition of qualification for seagoing careers being translated into shore-based careers. I did a full dissertation, a research on it, and from that research is what we have worked on with Technical University of Mombasa, is that now we need these master mariners and chief engineers to be translated into the trainers that we want ashore. We bring the experience and give them the Commission of University Education compliance, and also train them in what we call pedagogy. That is on, they have the experience, but how are they going to impart that experience to the student? So it is a personal decision that if anyone wants to complete their seagoing career, all their life on their seagoing career path, they are free to do that. But if you are thinking of coming back to training, MET, then you need to understand that there are some other requirements that must be met. And now we have gone further to make life easier, because you also need the people to come back. We have now brought in all the postgraduate qualifications that are required, because there is no way you are going to tell a master mariner at the age of 50 or 45 going forward to go for another 2 years in another country to live like a student. Ni watu wangu na wajua hatuwezi. So we make things, we have to facilitate. We have to make things easier. So touching on the same translation, I'll come to you now, is that currently in Kenya, there is no means of translating ICS qualification into the mainstream academic qualification. There is no any framework, there is no any means or any channel. And if someone purports to do so, that degree later on, the masters, will have a problem. Because the only thing that was there was you could do a higher national diploma, then do a master's, something which has not been really scrapped off, but everyone is avoiding to touch that particular issue at this current moment. The UK, as chairman has rightly said, there are some that they do, universities, but also a majority of the universities are also running away from it. That was the same case with us in terms of nautical science and marine engineering. Once you did your achievement, you are given a HND. Once you have done your class 1, you could as well go direct to master's degree, but on very specific master's degree. For example, many master's degree that has to do anything with nautical, if you are coming from the deck side, or a master's degree that deals with marine engineering in depth, shipboard, when it comes to marine engineering, the chief engineers on board. But also now, they have moved away from that. Now, any licensed officer will now have a bachelor's degree, either a normal bachelor's or an honors bachelor's degree. This is a conversation I had already mentioned to chairman, ICS, that the framework can be developed. However, the catch is simply one. As of now, ICS is taking anyone who is interested. However, that is a problem in itself. Why? Because each academic level, each qualification level in Kenya is described by a minimum entry requirement. So therefore, it means that you might be a fellow at ICS. However, if we take back your KCSE certificate, you do not even have the entry requirement for a level 5, a craft certificate. You only have an entry requirement for the artisan course. In business, in the whole of this country, because this is business based, it does not have any artisan business course. People only concentrated on the artisan courses in engineering and technology. There is no artisan course at level 4. The other thing that comes in is, you've mentioned you did A-level, all right? You did A-level under which system?
I had gone to do my A-levels in the UK.
In the UK?
Under GCSEs.
IGCSE and GCSE, there is another problem with that exactly in Kenya. Universities are no longer accepting those qualifications until when you go back to Kenya National Qualifications Authority and you bring in a certificate of equivalence translating that IGCSE into a full, not partial, but into a full meeting requirements of the KCSE qualification. There is another problem with that. So, to address that problem, ICS needs to address the issue of minimum entry requirement. Without that, it can't be done. Because as of now, I am ready. I'm going to review the Bachelor of Science in Maritime Management, and I am ready to look into all the independent modules of ICS, look at all of them. We take the same content, we repackage it into the degree, where we can have someone who is coming in applying for the bachelor's degree. We can give them exemptions, but the exemptions cannot go beyond 49%. That is out of my hand. It is how the Commission of University Education has put down the policy that for you to get a degree in any university at the undergraduate level, you must have been in that university for 51% or more. So you can be a fellow, but you don't have that qualification, but you can be just a member, MICS, but you have university entry requirements, then you can be able to get your undergraduate. We have already done it in TUM, and I think a very key person in ICS went through the same process, Abud. Yes, Abud had university entry requirements, came with ICS, then he was exempted on a number of, in the same program, Bachelor of Science in Maritime Management. As we are going to do also the second review of the program, we still sit down with ICS on the same issue. But for me, what must be resolved is the minimum entry requirement. But for the industry, it is working well, and we are not in the business of destroying livelihoods. People can still do ICS without the minimum requirements. We don't want beggars on the street, as long as they will train and they'll be able to do the job as private company wants. That one for us it is okay. But when it comes to translating to the degree, then it must come, that minimum entry. Yeah, and I think Madam Josephine, she's in the Directorate of Maritime Education, Training, and Labor. So that labor part, yes, she can explain to us. I will pass my time to her.
Asante.
Thank you very much. I'll play a political role here. And everybody wants to earn a livelihood. There are the requirements by the industry, the requirements by academia. In my personal view, I feel that we need to create a linkage. Let nobody fall through the silos of each of every compartment that we have. So we'll continue this conversation, and from trainers, because I also teach. I've trained that bachelor's of maritime. I know, and I can confirm here that my best students are the students who have ICS qualifications. So if those of us who feel that maybe our entry requirements did not meet the standard, there's always a way out. Let's have this conversation. Let's see how we can transition. Let's see how we can close the gaps and let nobody be left behind. Thank you.
We'll take 2 last questions,
One
then
thing,
we break for
excuse me,
lunch,
moderator.
and we can network from
Just
there.
want to add one thing. I hope I'm not taking a lot of time.
Sure.
Actually, just to give a clarity, initially ICS is supposed to be a professional qualification. So actually ICS is supposed to be a qualification for the profession already in the industry. That's why you see, even to get a membership, you need to be in the industry for 2 years before you can get your certificates. So when you finish your PQE, you have to work for 2 years. So that's why we expected by the time you are getting your PQE, you're already in the industry, and you've worked for another 2 years, and that's why there is a denomination. You have 2 fellow actually attesting to that. So in those standards, that's why you see that in some university we pick, because you're able to get points on the years that have been earned in the prior, the experiential. Like that's why you find the qualification of ICS membership becoming equivalent to a first degree, because they consider the work you've done in the field. If you look at other areas, which now the captain was saying, other part of the world, they acknowledge the experiential, the working experience as to add into your qualification. So those are the bases that makes them very easy to promote you to go direct to masters. Unlike in Kenya, initially there was no that recognition, number one. And number two, we got students who are coming direct from school to do ICS. So that's why the challenge has been. But also at branch level, we've also introduced, we have certificate. It's a certificate in shipping management. So for those people who does not get that entry-level qualification as per the Kenya National Qualification Authority, they can do the certificate in shipping management, and then they do the diploma. So that way you're able to bridge that gap. But also there are some conversation with other, say, Kenya is also changing the approach, as been more saying, from the knowledge-based education training to competence-based. Now, if you look at the CBET, that's the discussion with the ministry. They are looking in future. They are saying they will look at the experience and the experience. So those experience, when they mean there is only policy issues when they are put in place, then they'll be able to translate this easily with that 2 years experience of the qualification.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. At this point, we'd like to close it here today. During lunch, you can always network. Please see them, talk to them. Usiogope, mshajua sasa, si ndio? What I'd like to say is that you came here looking for answers, and it's my hope that you leave here looking for action. The maritime sector will not wait for East Africa to catch up. The green transition is happening. The digital transformation is happening. The global demand for competent, credentialed, and courageous seafarers is happening. Kama jana mulivyoambiwa, it is up to you. The bird is in your hands. Sindio? So from here, we'd like to please give a big round to our panelists. A big round of applause. And please, a big round of applause for yourselves for being here. Yeah. And nitaomba first panelist tupande juu so that we can do a group photo together with the team. and we call it a day. But don't forget, don't leave here without some numbers, eh? And I don't mean each other's numbers. Yes, please.
Definitely, I'll come back to Kenya soon. You know, that's a promise which I'm making, right? I would say, stay curious, ask questions, right? If you don't ask questions, you're not going to get answers. Don't be shy of asking. You know, even if you want water, you need to ask. I need to go now. I had to ask him, right? So don't be afraid to ask, because I can give you, and this conversation should not stop here. Please send in your questions. I think you should start like a helpline. There's a new CRM which I announced yesterday, which will have a helpline for the students, etc. But even before that, have a separate mailbox where they can send in their questions at any point of time, because this is really, really valuable feedback which we need from all of you on the ground, and that's been extremely useful. So wish you all the very best and exceptional career, and looking forward to have you all in leadership positions in a very short period of time. And when I come back to Kenya on a holiday 10 years from now, I should see you as policy makers, as CEOs, COOs, or even starting your own business. All the very best.